Hello everyone, Alice here from Vancouver Financial Network. Today is November 1st. Yeah, here is 1st of the November 2020, and we will have just 2 days before election. We had very choppy market last week. Last week was very bearish. For Thursday and Friday, we had a doji candle, which was slightly bullish, but it was all doji. It means that market was very volatile. S&P 500 or SPX daily chart is kind of neutral, but weekly chart is bullish, monthly chart is bullish. Some people are saying daily is bearish. I'm saying it is neutral, but most of the indexes on Friday lowered again, and was another choppy and volatile session. I was waiting for opening for Asia market today because I didn't want to give you estimation or some kind of like analysis that is based on the guesstimation or estimation. I wanted to see what was the opening on the Asia market, New Zealand, Australia, and tell you about the market this week. There was no flew through actually from um, there was no follow through. Sorry, there was no follow through actually through Thursday rally, and it was like all the dojis that still all the investors actually are kind of in a very careful mood, and they're very cautious because of the election. However, the last 30 minutes, it's better to say last hour of the market just rallied all the way up and closed green. You can't believe that it was red like for 7-8 hours, but just last hour it went up and closed green for S&P 500. Means that there are lots of investors and still traders actually coming back and buying the dip because market gave them. They think that market gave them a nice opportunity just before election. However, today we have a special session. In today, I want to review what happened exactly 4 years ago, exactly this time before election, what market did, and what we can expect market is doing for this week. We will have Tuesday election, 2 days window, and we are of course we are gonna see a volatility, and we will see like very choppy market. And all the traders, if you have like a stop loss, make sure that put your tight stop loss in any trades. I wouldn't suggest anyone who is not familiar in this market to get to the water now, because it is very dangerous, and you can just blow off your money easily in probably an hour or half an hour or something like that. So be careful with that. Let's go to chart and see what happened 4 years ago in major indices. All right, so here is S&P 500, and this is for, I believe this is for 2016, which we had a sell-off in January, February, was double bottom here, goes back up to the March, going up, choppy market. And in June, look at this, in June we had hard sell-off going down to almost 2000, like 1990, and then market reversed back in almost like a week, goes back to the right place at the top, and then from July 15, middle of July, to be honest, till like October 11th, didn't do anything. It was like very choppy, sideways. Nothing was going on that market, specifically on that time. Then September, market had sell off, exactly the same thing. We had this year, we had September sell off as well, and market was choppy. Exactly 2016, market was choppy, rallied back up. October 12th, October 10th, again another leg down, going down, and here is the Friday. Here is the Friday, of, yeah, here's the Friday, just last Friday before election. And on Monday, market start with gap higher. Gap higher going up, and then here is election day, and then Trump wins the election. What happened specifically on that day? Look at this candle, guys. Look at this amazing volatile choppy candle, which is gonna be for short side and long side a very, very bad situation. I tell you what, because if you were short, you don't know if you were short here, you were short here, because it was very, very fast moving candle. It goes down all the way down and goes up. So if you were short here, you had like a short squeeze. If you were long for short, you put your stop loss here probably, because Monday we had like a gap higher and it goes higher. Then you are getting in long here with hope that, oh, we're gonna break this resistance here and we're gonna go higher, but it goes down all the way down even through this gap. Feel the gap going down, and then lots of stop loss, lots of traders actually stepped out, and then market reversed back. What was the retracement here? The pullback was around 5%, and then goes back 7% up and closed higher. And then we had choppy bullish consolidation, and market goes all the way up. You see, all the way up. It then came back here. Look at these numbers: 2163, 2141. I'm gonna refer to this, and this is the election rally, and this is Trump's rally, all the way up here to 2018. For 2 years we had like a massive parabolic here, especially here 2017 to here. This is a parabolic move, and then we had like a sharp sell-off going down. What happened here? First of all, let's go over here. Again, we had a sell-off, a massive sell-off all the way down to here, and here these blue lines. You see these science lines here? This is election lines 4 years ago. The market just go back pretty close to this area, and Trump rally again. This is Trump rally, and market go all the way up. Here is the June sell-off, and we had the same thing. June 2020, same as June 2016, we had sell-off. And what was the market support over there? Let's go back there. Let's go back there. See what happened. Here is the election day, and here is the June sell-off. Market goes down to here, to somehow this area, and then goes back up here. Slightly over June sell-off, we had support. And here is the June bottom. By the way, this is like a 3 days. We had 2 day, now 3 days sell-off. Market bottom here. And then we will have rally after June all the way up to August, and then August, September 3rd, exactly the same thing. From September, we had, if you remember, we warned our subscribers, or our members, I should say, because we don't have any subscription fee in our channel. However, we had a sell-off down to 31.78, 32.24, and this is the bottom of September 24th. Market rallied up, again going back to election. And here's the thing, we are in this situation. We had gapped higher, and now we had very, very small gap down, like I don't know how much is that, but I didn't count it. I don't care, to be honest, because this is very small gap. It was not a huge gap, something like this, just slightly higher than that. But we had gapped higher, sorry, gap lower, and then market goes back up. So it is not finished, because we just started like 2.5 hours after opening bell in Asian market. So we are gonna see lots of volatility. Probably look at these wicks here: optics, lower ticks, optics, lower ticks. These are very, very volatile, and probably we will have another doji, or kind of like a very, very volatile session on Monday. And Tuesday, we are not gonna see the President of the United States, unfortunately, on Tuesday. Most probably, I'm not saying that, but most probably because lots of people voting through mail, and they can't say like, here is the president of the United States, because American people get used to see their president after elections night. But this year, because of the COVID-19 and because of the different method of voting, people already voted through mail system, and they're gonna post their votes, and they're gonna read them afterwards, and probably the president of the United States will be like, the result of this election will be finalized end of this week. So that's why this week is going to be very, very interesting. The whole days actually are going to be interesting, the whole entire week. We might see another like going up, or probably shadow all the way down. I want to say that probably going to test this June low. And if we test that area, which is going to be 3,000, I'm not going to be surprised. And if we get there, I'm gonna be down buyer in this market. This is very, very good opportunity. So I'm gonna copy this triangle and put it there just by chance for next week video. See if we will have something like that this week. And I'm gonna just extend this here to just show it better here. So these are my level for betting on the long side if market gives us opportunity. So this is just a prediction. We are gonna see. I'm not gonna put my orders now. I'm gonna see if we have a sell-off going all the way down to here, and in smaller time frame, I'm gonna trigger it with like a reversal pattern or something like that. So if I see any reversal here, I'm gonna be buyer. I'm gonna be buyer. Here is the S&P 500, and let's go to Dow Jones and NASDAQ, see what happened to the Dow Jones and NASDAQ. Okay, here is the Dow Jones Industrial, and 4 years ago, again the same thing. We had like a double bottom here, and then going up, June sell-off, choppy consolidation here, gapped higher, very, very volatile day on the election day, and a day after, like when Trump won the election, market goes down here to this level, to the June support here. That's what I call it, June support. And then had a nice rally all the way up to year 2018. That's what I believe. Yeah, 2018, which is gonna be January, right? So here we have the same thing. Look at here. If we go back, and then here is the support from 2016, which we didn't make it to getting close to that one, but it's pretty close. You see that one. It is beginning of the Trump, when Trump got the election won, and then Trump became a president. And here is a June sell-off, again June sell-off, and we are gonna see this is the channel that we are going to doing sideways. It is a bullish pattern. It is not bearish. I know that you're going to see like higher, like lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, but here is the macro bullish pattern. And as long as we are above this line, we are okay. We are totally fine. I'm gonna just put some lines here to make sure that we are gonna catch this line here. So here is the June sell-off. June market is going down here. I'm gonna change it to yellow here. And this is another one. Like we are seeing market just gapped higher a little bit, gap lower a little bit, because this is a Friday close, market gap lower. However, the price action, I know you're seeing it is negative. It is like below its closed, like last close, but market is going higher so far. I don't know it's going to be sustainable, but here is the trend, here is the channel, and if we see any fluctuation, probably market goes to this area, which is a huge area for Dow Jones. It's going to be like 100 points, 1,000 points here. So you see here is the 1,000 units, which is a lot, like a 2550 to 2024 500, 25 500. That's gonna be huge, like 1,000 units here. But however, we can see that in the election day, probably Tuesday or Wednesday, when everyone's saying about like who is the next president of the United States. You're gonna see the fluctuation and volatility here. Exactly the same thing. I'm not sure if it goes down all the way down. I'm not sure. Some people are saying maybe Biden won the election. He's gonna just crash the market and the market is gonna go down. I'm not sure about that because he has got like a very, very big stimulus package. Probably in future, market doesn't like Democrats. I don't know. But in just 2 3 days after election, market will have like lots of volatility, and then we will have like a stimulus package probably from Democrats and also from Republicans as well. If Trump wins the election, he's gonna just put like all the stimulus package, new stimulus package to the Senate and Congress, and they're gonna prove that it's easy. They're gonna prove that there is no political debates on that. And here is the Dow Jones Industrial. Let's go to Nasdaq, see what happened to Nasdaq. So here is the Nasdaq 2016, and exactly the same pattern. Market went down June, going up, choppy consolidation, going down in October, November, and here's the Friday, and then Monday market gapped higher, going up. Here's the price volatility, but look at the distance. If you remember for Dow Jones and S&P, this line, this shadow actually goes all the way down to here, to this area. But for Nasdaq, even it keeps like above 200 moving average, which is very bullish actually, which is investors area for buying stocks. And then you see all the way up, rallying all the way up, huge going up to here. Like Nasdaq went dramatically higher, and then even when we are getting down like in March, we are pretty far away from these lines. If you remember, for S&P we were somewhere here, for Dow Jones we were somewhere here, but for Nasdaq we are far off those lines here, and still we are very, very higher than expected. And if we are going to the recent price action, let me just okay, if we're going to the recent price action, here is the June bottom here. So market goes up and then double top here, goes down. Here's the July, and then market, I believe we didn't have like any a sell-off in June. Yeah, this is the sell-off in June. Sorry, that was July. This is sell-off in June just for one day. For the other indices, if you saw that, there were 2 3 days sell-off, but for June we just had one day sell-off, one day short sell-off. Market just find the bottom and goes higher. And here's the July. I believe we are not gonna test this low for Nasdaq. This low for Nasdaq. If we are going to see what we are going to see, market probably goes down for Nasdaq to the July bottom. And here is the rectangular that I want to draw here. If we see any line here between 10,300 to 10,500, and we are we are at 11,080, which is gonna be like 700 unit down there, and it's gonna be above 200 moving average. Nasdaq shows that it is a leader, it is a market leader. However, right now money is going off the Nasdaq and going to some of the other indices. And if you see, here is the price action for Nasdaq. Nasdaq gap lower, but it goes higher, and probably it goes higher, higher, higher. We are gonna see the end of the bear impulse for the Nasdaq for this week. Let's see how it goes. I'm not sure about this, because if Biden comes to power, he's gonna put lots of taxes against technology companies like a Google, Facebook. That's what he believed. And if Trump actually wins the election, he has a problem with those big tech companies as well. If you see that, if you saw the news, there were like file against Google, and against Amazon and against like a Facebook in Congress. So there are lots of things going on with big tech companies. I'm not sure about the Nasdaq. I'm not buyer of the Nasdaq now. I'm not seller. I'm not buyer. I don't want to touch it because it's risky for either side. But I'm just as an analysis, I'm just analyzing this to see if market has this, because it's going to be sentiment, folks. It's going to be sentiment for all the major indices. It's going to be the same way. One is going to perform better, one is going to underperform, one is going to overperform or outperform the other indices. So we're going to always watch 3 or 4. I didn't want to talk about Russell in this clip, but Russell has the same thing as well. So make sure that just look at the history of the election and see what happened exactly 4 years ago, and it's gonna be like a time cycle. We will see the same thing. Like if we had like a sell-off in June, and we had 4 years ago sell-off in June, and that was the right bottom for the election day. And I'm not sure even if we get close to here, probably we will. I'm not saying, probably I will be wrong, but I'm gonna say Nasdaq shows that even here 4 years ago, let's go back here, 4 years ago, for the other indices, this election day shadow goes all the way down to the June. For the other indices, for Nasdaq, held up pretty well above 200 moving average. So that's what I'm saying. Nasdaq is kind of leader. It's performing better, and probably this year is gonna perform again better, or maybe it's gonna fail. I don't know. But let's go back to the S&P 500. Let's go back to the S&P 500 and see what happened to the monthly chart, because that was very important as well. Here is the S&P 500. Let me open this. And here's the price action for the monthly chart here. This is a monthly chart. Look at this. Pivot high here, pivot high, rejection, pivot high, rejection. Right now, we are seeing there is a slightly support here around 3200, which is gonna be probably the shadow for the election day. Probably it goes down all the way to that rectangle that I drafted there. And it goes all the way down to here, which is gonna be very, very bullish for the market if it holds this area. Let's go to daily and see what daily shows us. So here is the daily. Here is my rectangular. My rectangular actually is below the support line that I show. Support line was 31 to here is 30 to 3100, but this rectangular is here. However, we will see how it goes, but I'm gonna just put this one here, another one, just as like showing the support area here. It's gonna be here. And you see, this is like a very, very negative week for S&P 500. However, we will have tons of support here, 3200 and 3127. It's going to be another support here, which is going to be demand area for this nice rally all the way back up here. We broke this support through this demand area, so it's going to be pretty strong support here. Even in this area, 200 moving average is there, which is very, very important. And let's see how it goes. Like this is going to be very interesting week. Nothing wrong with chart as far as we are above. Even if we are not heading into election, I'm gonna say that as far as we are not above, we are not going below. Sorry, we are not going below this pivot low here on the September 25th. This is gonna be bullish, guys. This is gonna be like a probably W pattern or something like that. Yeah, some people are gonna argue that this is kind of like a double bottom. We are going back all the way down. Like, I don't know, some people are showing like something here or something like that. I'm not seeing that now. This is like a very, very strong support area. If something happened this week, we can see that price goes down, but I'm not sure. There are lots of support here. If you see all the lines, actually, they're gonna be very, very strong support here. All right, that's what it is for today. Today we just have like very, very historical analysis And in the next file, I'm gonna just show you about the commitment traders of report. That's very interesting reports. I'm gonna just talk about some commodities, some agricultural commodities onto the chart. Make sure that watch the next video. And if you like our channel, please subscribe here, and please click on the notification button to see all the notification. Most likely you will see all my analysis actually weekly basis, but sometimes it depends on the market. I've got something for you in the middle of the week. Make sure that you catch up at the right time. All right, have a fantastic week, guys. Thank you for watching us. Thank you for being with us. Bye bye.